Good morning, maker friends. How's everybody doing today? Let's give everybody just a few minutes to hop on here. We don't want anybody to miss out on the fun this morning. You might want to tag a couple of your friends in the comments below as well, because I have heard from a little birdie that Amy's going to be doing a giveaway for us today, so you don't want to miss out on that. To be entered, all you've got to do is tag those friends down in the comments below. Let me know also, are you watching us live this morning, or are you actually catching us on a replay? I can't wait to show y'all the project I've got planned. I'll give you a little hint. We're going to be playing around with the one-step paints today. I absolutely love Amy's one-step paints, and I love that you can get at a Maker Studios website, you can get the little sample jars. It gives you the chance just to kind of get a little bit of that color before you jump in and buy the big one. I love these little sample containers. So today I'm going to show you how you can take these one-step paints and you can paint your very own custom pillowcase. Are you ready to hop onto our workspace and let's get started? Okay, let's go. Okay, y'all, so here's what we're going to be using for our project today. I've got one of my Maker Studio pillows here. This is in white. I think you can also get this in a cream color. I'm going to be using my Amy Howard at Home one-step paints in the color Ladies Singing the Blues, My Dragon, and also French Blue. Aren't those pretty? And also from a Maker Studio, I'm going to be using my Metallic Gold Gel Art ink. I've also got one of my Maker Studio 2-inch chip brushes, a little bucket of water here, and then I've also got a spray bottle full of water. And y'all, before we got started this morning, I did go ahead and mist down my pillow. I want this to be very saturated. I want it to be very wet because that's going to make sure that our paint is not crunchy. So let me go ahead and mist it again, just to make sure. Now, in between my pillow, I do already have parchment paper in here so that I don't get any bleed through. And this feels pretty good. So you can actually water down your paint ahead of time if you want to. That's completely up to you. But I know that I'm going to be sanding my piece down before I put my stencil over it. So I'm honestly just going to pour my paint directly onto my pillowcase. And I'm not going to water it down, but just know that you definitely can do that. I'm going to stand up when I do this, and like I said, I'm just pouring it directly from the container. I'm not going all the way to the edge. This is a little bit scary, isn't it? I did actually do one ahead of time so that it could be drying. And I also wanted to make sure that my theory would work. Okay. Now I've got my chip brush that I've already saturated in water. And I'm going to go ahead and spray this down really good too. Look how beautiful these colors are already. Okay, now I'm just going to take my wet chip brush and I'm going to start working that paint back and forth. I'm going to ease down into my next color and then finally down into my final color at the bottom. And now we're just going to go back and forth. I want this to be sort of like a gradient watercolor look. If you want more of that ombre look, you can definitely just stop working. Don't go back and forth as much. And y'all, that's it. Literally, how simple was that? I'm going to let this dry. Let me go ahead and spray it one more time. Once it's dry, we'll flip it over and we'll do the back side too. That was almost too simple, wasn't it? I almost feel bad. Okay, so I did go ahead and do one last night so that it could be dried. And wait until you see how beautiful it is. I'm going to move this over out of the way, and I'm going to pick up the one that's dry. Look how beautiful this looks when it dries. Isn't that pretty? So let me pick this up so you can see how pretty that is. Isn't that nice? So it's completely and totally dried. And now I'm just going to take some 220 grit sandpaper and I'm just going to lightly sand over this just so that the finish is like super smooth and I don't have any thick paint on my pillowcase. You will have just a little bit of a residue, so just take a paintbrush and just sort of wipe that off. Isn't it pretty? Honestly, you could leave it just like this and I think it would be absolutely beautiful, but I want to take it just a step further and embellish it with my sea life stencil. Living at the beach, I do a ton of decorating with marine life and seashells, so this is one of my favorite stencils. Who wants to win this stencil for their very own? All you've got to do is tag a couple of your friends' names down in those comments below, and one lucky person is going to be taking this Sea Life stencil home with them. So let's open up our stencil, and let's cut this apart. Honestly, I haven't quite made up my mind as to which one of these I might want to use. I thought it might be really pretty just to put the simple octopus in the middle. What do you think? In the gold, I think that would be absolutely stunning. Another option is to take your seashells and spread them out. I think that would be super pretty as well. I do have two pillows that I'm going to be doing, so one of them I may actually do the shells and the other one I might do the octopus. These are so beautiful. I love seashells. This is a tough decision, isn't it? That is kind of pretty, but honestly, I think I'm going back to my very first instinct, and that is to use our beautiful octopus. So you can either use your silicone scraper or you can use your plastic scraper. It's totally up to you, whichever one you're more comfortable with. We're just going to peel back that stencil. And if you want to, you can definitely break out your measuring tape. Try to get them in the center. But I'm more of an eyeballer. That looks pretty good. So now we want to burnish in our stencil. And by burnishing in, that just means we're going to press really, really hard. This is a very important step when you're working with these stencils. If you're not comfortable leaving your edges this close, you can take your blue painter's tape and you can put a little bit of a border on the edge just so that you don't get any onto somewhere you don't want it to be. That is totally up to you. Okay, so the metallic gold gel art ink is what we're going to be using in our stencil today. This gold gel art ink, y'all, is beautiful. It's stunning. The pigment in it is absolutely awesome. Just want to make sure you get the entire thing covered. Press very hard so that your paint goes all the way through. And you can hear that scraping sound. That is how it sounds when you're pushing your paint through that stencil. You want to hear that scraping sound. It's a little close over here, so I'm going to try my best not to get anything on that edge. Let's see. There we go. You know, I'm not really one that lets bleeds or anything bother me. I just think that gives it more of an authentic look. You can tell it's handmade. We don't like anything produced by machines. Once we get this entire stencil covered, it'll be time to pick it up. I just love this little guy. I've used him for a lot of different projects. Okay. Look how pretty that is. I love how this looks. We're going to give this a little bit to dry, and then after it has dried completely, I'm going to heat set this with a warm iron, and y'all, it'll be time to put this on to my pillow. I also think it may be pretty if you wanted to add some tassels or something in the corner. I think that would be another great touch. What do you think about this project? Are you ready to go paint your own pillows? I think you can do it. It was easy, and you just saw how simple it was to do. Can you believe how easy that was? I absolutely love the ombre effect. It just gives it that underwater, beautiful look. And it was so simple, wasn't it? What do you think about the octopus? I think that was the perfect choice to go along with this color combination, don't you? Let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. Also, don't forget, if you want to be entered in the giveaway that Amy's doing for us today, all you've got to do is to tag 3 of your friends' names down in those comments below and tell them to hop on over here and check out what we're doing over at a Maker Studio. I've got to run for now, y'all. Until next time, happy DIYing, y'all.